Hey everybody! Recently we were down at Murph and we caught up with the guys from C3D, Tyler and Cody. We got to talking and got to know each other throughout the weekend and we had a blast. But while we were talking, we decided to start discussing the difference between the Ender 3 Standard and an Ender 3 Pro. So, what we have today is two Ender 3 Standards and a brand new Ender 3 Pro that Tyler from C3D sent me. We're going to do a video to compare them. We're going to show you what's different and how the Ender 3 Pro is that much better for the little bit of cost. My name's Jim, and this is The Edge of Tech. So like I said, today we're going to go through the Ender 3 and the Ender 3 Pro and figure out what's different so you could see it in person. Hang out, we're gonna go through about 6 different things that make the Ender 3 Pro just a little better and worth it, because a lot of times now I'm only seeing about a $30 or $35 difference. You definitely wanna go the Pro if you can spend the extra 30 bucks. Let's do this. So at first look, if I just scan across here, there really doesn't look like that much of a difference. In reality, if we go through each of the things that are different, you're gonna find out that the Ender 3 Pro is definitely a better buy. But if you want to stick with the standard Ender 3, that's okay too, because it's a very good machine. So I've turned a couple of the machines, this one being the Pro and this one being the standard. And you notice the first thing I want to talk about is the power supplies on each one. This is the standard Ender 3. It comes with a generic power supply. It is not certified, and they are known to have grounding issues. If you check out TH3D's video, he actually goes through and shows you how to fix, or at least try to help alleviate that issue until you can get a new one. So this is the power supply that comes on a standard Ender 3. You can see it's pretty thick. It is made out of kind of a cheaper metal. It's got a pretty good sized fan in here. I did a video on how to change out that fan if you want to, but it's not certified, and as you saw in TH3D's video, these things are pretty dangerous. The grounds are pretty bad on them, and it can actually cause a lot of trouble. If you look at the Ender 3 Pro, this has a Meanwell power supply. It is an LRS 350-24, and it's a 350 watt. It is certified, and these things are awesome. As you can tell, if I put them next to each other, it's much, much thinner. It's about half as thin, and these things are certified. They come from the factory. They're built very well, and you can dial them in pretty awesome. They both have the switches on the side, so you can change it between 230 and 115. But this is the one that comes on the Ender 3 Pro. If you're going to buy this, it's about $40 to $45 just to add this power supply to the Ender 3 Pro and replace this old one. So that's the difference between the two power supplies on the Ender 3 and the Ender 3 Pro. We'd have to give the win to the Ender 3 Pro because that power supply is just so much better from Meanwell. The power supply alone is worth that upgrade. So check that out. So the next thing we need to dive into is the build surface. So on the standard Ender 3, you get these clips. If I can get them off, there we go. And you get a build sheet just like this. And this is actually not a bad build sheet. A lot of people really swear by these. I've had great success on these as well. As long as you have your bed leveled and your X gantry set up right, you can have really good printing on these. But you have to take them off with the clips, and sometimes people don't like that. On the Ender 3 Pro here, we actually have the magnetic build surface. So it comes on, it is a thin sheet like this, has a magnet on the back, and then there's a magnet taped down onto the plate here. So this right here flexes, so you can pull it off and flex off of your prints, which is great. One of the things I heard people talking about is the problem trying to get this thing on the bed right. So as you can see, I just put it down and it's off on this side. So some people were saying once you get it right, you're good, just like that. The other thing people are saying is to watch for bubbles in the magnetic build surface, because that will cause leveling issues if you have bubbles underneath here. And that can happen. In some cases, we've seen issues where the print at higher temperatures with higher or stronger material actually pulled, while it was bowing, it pulled the magnetic bed up because it's not quite strong enough. Myself, I just built the Ender 3 Pro last night. I have not had a chance to test the build surface. There's a lot of really cool build surfaces out there for magnetic beds if you like them. So you can always check it out, but that is a difference between these two. This one comes with that magnetic bed, and you may have to play with it a couple times to get it on there straight and just double check your bubbles. This one here, you have to use clips to keep it on. This one to me is a toss-up. To be honest, I've never used the magnetic bed yet, so I can't say if it's better or not. Just going by people off the forums, some people really love the magnetic bed that the Ender comes with. Some people replace it right away with a better one. And some people really love this build surface, and some people don't. So I don't know which one to give that credit to or give the points to per se, but that's how they're different, and I'll let you guys decide. So the next thing I want to check out is the difference between the extrusions on the Y-axis for the Ender 3 and the Ender 3 Pro. So I wanted to get a little closer here and show you a little bit how they look. So this right here is the standard Ender 3. It's a 20 by 40 extrusion, and it comes on all the standard Ender 3s. You can see it's about that thick, and it actually does a pretty good job. I have 2 of these. I love them. I never had issues. This here is your Ender 3 Pro. That comes with a 40 by 40 extrusion, which means it is literally double as wide as the Ender 3 standard. What that does is give it more rigidity. It makes it stronger for that Y-axis, and everything can ride on it and be stronger on that axis. Is it better? There is theory out there that the thicker or the stronger extrusions make a printer better, so I'd have to say yes. I haven't noticed a huge difference, but it definitely keeps that Y-axis more stable. Again, I haven't printed with this one. I just put it together last night. So we're going to find out. It's stronger, thicker, and definitely better for your Y-axis. So the next thing I want to talk about is your motherboard and how it's housed in each of these printers. So this right here is an Ender 3 standard. I did print the cover because there's actually a fan that sits right here. If we take this off, you can actually see the fan faces up, and that was a big gripe for the Ender 3 because if any filament falls down here, it could go right into the fan and through that into your motherboard. So the Ender 3 Pro came along and actually fixed that. So as you can see, there's no cover here, there's no fan here. What they did was they took everything and they flipped it upside down. So now the fan and everything's on the bottom. That is good and it's bad because this is very easy to work on the inside of that motherboard. This one you actually have to turn upside down to work on, or at least turn it on its side. So that could be good and bad depending on what you're doing. This is your Ender 3 standard, and I wanted to show you where the SD card is here. It's right down here in the bottom right side. So you can see now that I zoomed in, this is where your SD card is on the Ender 3 standard. It's kind of down at the bottom right corner. It's kind of awkward to kind of get your fingers in there, and it was kind of a gripe of a lot of users, especially at first. That is another big thing that changed. This right here is your Ender 3 Pro. Because they flipped the motherboard over and everything's upside down, the SD card actually goes to the top left on this one, making it much easier to take your SD card in and out and get your fingers in there. It went from the bottom right on your standard to the top left on your Pro. And I think that's a huge benefit. Okay, so if I had to rate this, I'm gonna go ahead and say I really like the Pro setup. It is not as easy to work on the motherboard as a standard, but it's so much easier to get to your SD card, and you don't have to worry about that fan up here. It's one less thing to print. I printed this, and pretty much everybody prints the cover for their fan. It kind of looks cool, and there's a ton of different ones, but you don't have to print it when you get the Pro, which is cool. One thing I do want to point out though, so on the standard, you put your memory card right side up. On the Pro here, they're upside down. And that threw me off the first time I used it. So just remember that when you're working on the Pro, you need to put your memory card upside down to put it in. that will mess you up, and it definitely messed me up the first time I did it too. Another thing I want to point out, that this right here is an Ender 3 Pro, and they come with a black silicone sock around your heat block down here. It's been like that for quite a long time, and that used to be a big difference between the Ender 3 and the Ender 3 Pro. But you can actually see that on the Ender 3, it comes with the same silicone black sock around your heat block. So that is really cool that they started doing that for the Ender 3s and the Ender 3 Pros. This is way better than that old insulation garbage that they had on the first runs of these. So don't worry about that. It comes with a silicone sock. It's way better, and you don't have to worry about that anymore. So we just went through the Ender 3 Pro and the Ender 3 Standard and what's different about them. We went through the power supply on each one, the magnetic bed on the Pro, the 20x40 extrusion that the Pro has, the upside down motherboard that causes no fan at the top, stuff can't fall in anymore, the SD card being way easier to reach. All of that being said, if you have the extra $30 to $35, buy the Pro. The Meanwhile power supply alone is worth it, and you definitely will have better results with that power supply. If you don't, the Ender 3 Standards are really great. Up until now, that's all I've had, and I print almost every day on these, and I really love them. I did pick up some TH3D Meanwhile power supplies, as one of my other videos showed. That's on this one, and it will be on this one today after this video is done. But if you need to go with one and you can afford it, go with a Pro. If not, grab the Standard. It's going to work great for you, and when you get the extra cash, upgrade your power supply, because you're really going to want to do that. I want to thank Tyler from C3D for sending me this Ender 3 Pro to film with today, and Cody from C3D. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Check them out, c3d.media and the C3D support groups. They'll both be linked in the description below. This Ender 3 Pro actually won't be staying with me. They sent it to me so we could customize it, and we're going to give it to someone that really needs it. No spoiler alerts, but stay tuned for a really cool video coming up. Once again, this has just been a video to point out what's different between the Ender 3 and the Ender 3 Pro. I hope you guys learned something today, and as always, keep printing. If you liked the video you just saw, please click the like button. If you want to see more, click the subscribe button below, and if you want to be notified when the next great videos come out, click that little bell right over here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. We're over 1,000 subscribers now, and it's all thanks to you guys. You guys have a great night.